Third set, study the following information carefully to answer the questions that follow. 4 friends, 2 girls Gracie and Neha, and 2 boys Graham and Richard decide on a complicated code of conduct that they all must follow about the code of the clothes they must wear. If Richard and Gracie both wear red, then the other 2 friends wore a different color from each other and not red. If Neha wore a green dress, then exactly 2 other friends wore blue. If Neha wore a red dress, then all other friends wore blue, and so on and so forth. It is known that girls always wore a dress while the boys always wore a shirt and pants. The shirt and the pants for the boys were of the same color. The 4 friends always wore one out of red, blue, and green. So basically, there are 4 people, 2 boys and 2 girls, where they are going to wear dresses from one of the 3 colors, which is red, blue, and green, RBG. And then we have got conditions, if then, and there are tons of them. So if I try to find out the cases, and if I talk about Richard can wear how many different colors, so it's going to be 3, Gracie 3, Neha 3, Graham 3. So we will have a total of 3 into 3 into 3 into 3, which is 81 possibilities. So we need to first of all minimize the number of possibilities from here. So there is one statement which tells us something definite, right? So if we talk about red, blue, and green, and the people being Gracie and Neha being girls, and then Graham and Richard being boys, we can see that Graham can never wear red and Gracie can never wear green. So we have some cases that get minimized. Okay. And let's find out the name of the person who is most number of times in the condition. So if you look at Richard, Richard is here, Richard is here, Richard is here. So Richard is there at 3 places. So 3 conditions are dependent on Richard. If you talk about Gracie, so Gracie is once and twice. So there are 2 places where Gracie is. If we talk about Neha, Neha is at 1, 2, and 3 places. And if we talk about Graham, so Graham is there and that's it. Okay, Graham is here as well. So Graham is at 2 places. So we can either start with Richard or we can start with Neha, because we have most statements that cover Neha as well as Richard. Let's also try to find out 2 statements which are kind of contradicting each other. For example, we have got Richard can wear red, Richard can wear green, Richard can wear blue. So we have 3 possibilities for Richard. What about Neha? Neha can wear green, Neha can wear red, and Neha can wear blue, right? And for Neha, if Neha wears a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. And okay, fine. So we can start with Neha or Richard. Let's do one thing. We have got more specific condition about the name of the people when Richard is involved. In the case of Neha, we do not have a specific case. We just have all other friends or exactly 2 friends. So it will be much better if you start with Richard as the condition. And Richard can wear all the 3 colors, right? Since Richard can wear all the 3 colors, there are going to be 3 cases. Case 1 when Richard wears red, then blue, then green. Let's begin. These are all the conditions. Let's start with if Richard wears, let's start from bottom because we have some condition on Graham from there. So if Richard wears blue, then Graham didn't wear green and Graham doesn't wear red. So Graham can't wear green, can't wear red, so Graham has to wear blue. Okay. Now, what about Gracie? Richard and Gracie, they both are not wearing red here. So we have exactly, we are done with this. We are done with 6th. We are done with 1st. We are kind of done with 9th. If Graham wore green, Graham doesn't wear green, so this is done. Next, if we look at the 5th statement, it says if Gracie wears a blue dress, so if Gracie suppose wears a blue dress, because Gracie cannot wear green, Gracie can only wear blue or red, right? So if Gracie wears blue, then at most one other friend can wear blue, but we see 2 people wearing blue. So Gracie is not going to wear blue here. What if Gracie wears red? So 5th is also done. Next, if Neha wore blue, then none of their friends wore red, but Gracie wears red. So 8th done, and Neha is not going to wear blue. If Neha wears a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. So Neha can't wear the red dress. If Neha wears a green dress, then exactly 2 of her friends will wear blue. So this is a possible scenario where Neha wears green, exactly 2 of her friends wear blue. Graham will not wear red, Graham will not wear green, Gracie will not wear blue or green. Okay, let's look at the next scenario now. When Richard wears blue ho gaya, when Richard wears green. Suppose if Richard wears green, then the 2 girls wear red. So Neha wears red and Gracie wears red. Okay, so we are done with these 2, and we know that Richard and Gracie both wear red. Ye bhi done hai. Neha wears a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. So this is not a possibility because the 3rd statement is contradicting here. So I'll write down 3rd statement here, which is helping us contradict. Ki if Richard wears green, then the 2 girls wear red. That means Neha wears a red. And if Neha wore a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. Ye to bilkul nahi ho raha. Okay, the next scenario is if Richard wears blue. Okay. Okay, sorry, we are done with blue for Richard. What if Richard wears red? Now, if Richard wears red, then we can have 2 possibility now. So we are done with 7th and 6th, क्योंकि वो red तो नहीं कर रहा, तो green and blue is done. Gracie may wear red, may not wear red. Okay, so let's take a scenario where Gracie is not going to wear red. Gracie cannot wear green, and let's say Gracie doesn't wear red. So the only color Gracie can wear is going to be blue. Okay. The 2 other friends wore a different color from each other. If both wear red, right now they do not. Next, if Gracie wore a blue dress, then at most one other friend can wear blue. So we don't know who at most is going to wear. We will remember this. 8th statement says if Neha wore blue, then none of her friends wore red, but Richard has already. So Neha doesn't wear blue, right? So done with this actually. So Neha wears a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. This is also not possible. If Neha wears a green dress, then exactly 2 other friends wear blue. So the second blue person could be Graham. Let's see if Graham can wear blue. If Graham wore red, never wore red, of course he doesn't. If Graham wore green, Graham is not going to wear green. So this is a possibility. Okay, the next scenario is what if Richard and Gracie, they both wear red. So let's restart. If Richard wears red and Gracie also wears red, then the 2 other friends wore a different color from each other and not red. So the possibility is Neha wears blue and Graham wears green. Okay. So Graham never wore red. Perfect. No problem here. If Neha wore blue, then none of the friends wore red. Because of 8th statement, this gets contradicted. Okay. The other possibility is if we interchange blue and green for Neha and Graham, as in Gracie and Richard, they both wear red. And suppose Graham wears blue and Neha wears green. Now, if Neha wore a green dress, this is the second statement, then exactly two other friends wore blue. They are not. So because of the second statement, this is also eliminated. So we have seen all the cases here. The first case where I took Richard as blue, then Richard as green, and then Richard as red. Now, when Richard was red, there were further three cases, out of which only one makes sense, the other two not. So finally, we will have only two possibilities for these five people. Let's start with the questions now. Question number 11. Which color dress did Neha wear? So we have two possibilities. In both the possibilities, Neha wears green color. Option A. Question number 12. For how many of the four friends can we find out the color of the clothing worn by them? So we can see Neha always wears green, Graham always wears blue, and we don't know about Gracie and Richard. So there are exactly two people whose clothing is definitely known to us. So option C. Question number 13. If Gracie did not wear a red dress, so we are talking about case 2 here, then what color pants did Richard wear? Richard wears red because the shirt and pants, they are of the same color. So option C will be the answer. Question number 14. If Graham could wear red and did indeed wear red and Gracie could wear green, what was the color of the dress worn by Gracie? So the question says Graham did wear red. So when Graham wears red, that means the ninth condition, first part, is not required, as in we can go against it. And Gracie could wear green. That means Gracie may or may not wear green. So we need to find out which color dress Gracie is going to wear. She might wear green, she might wear any of the other two, or maybe she can wear green as well as some other color. So we need to find those scenarios. So when Graham wears red, and that means we can't take the fourth statement because Graham wears green, that is not taken. Then it says if Graham wears red, then we can't have for Neha that wears a red dress, because if Neha wears a red dress, that means all other friends wear blue, but Graham wears a red. So we can't take Neha as red. Okay. So this entire statement is done. If Neha wore a green dress, then exactly two other friends wore blue. So Neha, if she wears a green dress and the other two wears blue, is it a possibility? So using the second statement, then it says if Richard and Gracie both wear red, Richard and Gracie, they are not wearing red. If Gracie wore a blue dress, then at most one other friend can wear blue. This is true. If Richard wore green, he doesn't. If Richard wore blue, he doesn't. Achha, he does. Then Graham didn't wear green. This is perfectly fine. If Neha wore blue, she doesn't. So we can say that this green, blue, red, blue, this scenario is possible. The next condition we can have is we started with Graham wearing red and Neha, right? So Neha wearing green dress. What if we take Neha wearing red dress? Neha cannot wear red dress, right? So let's take the case when Neha wears blue, because when Neha wears blue, second and third statement, these are taken care of, as in obviously she is not wearing green or red. So if Neha wears blue, then none of the friends wear red, but then Graham wears red. So that means this scenario is not possible. There were only two cases. In both these cases, we found out that only one case will suffice. Green, blue, red, blue wala. And the question is, what is the color of the dress worn by Gracie? So Gracie wears blue color. So C is going to be the answer. Question number 15. If Gracie could wear green and did indeed wear green and Graham could wear red, what cannot be the color of the pants worn by Neha? Neha is not going to wear pants, but it's about the dress, the color of the dress of Neha. So anyways, so that means this ninth statement is not true anymore. We have to look into these scenarios. Jidhar Gracie will wear green for sure, and Graham may or may not wear red, right? When Gracie wears green, then first statement will never happen, right? And Gracie wears a blue dress, this statement will also never happen. Now we will have two possibilities. One, where Graham will wear red or Graham will not wear red. So suppose if Graham wears red. Now if Graham wears red, then if Graham wore green, this is taken care of. And then third statement says if Neha wore a red dress, then all other friends wore blue. Not all other friends are wearing blue. So yeah, third statement is also taken care of. If Neha wears a green dress, then exactly two other friends wear blue. This is also taken care of. That means Neha doesn't wear red or green. That means Neha wears a blue colored dress. If Neha wears blue, then none of the friends wear red. Using the eighth statement, we can say that this is a contradiction. So we can't have this scenario. Next, if Gracie wears green and Graham doesn't wear red, let's restart. If Graham doesn't wear red, then Graham can wear green as well. So Graham wears green. Then this statement that if Neha wore a red dress, then all other friends wear blue. That tells us that Neha can't wear red dress. And Neha wears a green dress, then exactly two other friends wear blue. This is also not going to happen. That means Neha cannot wear red or green. Neha wears blue. Now, if Neha wears blue, then none of the friends wear red. So Richard is going to wear blue or green, right? Okay, we'll remember this. If Richard wears blue, then Graham didn't wear green. That tells us that Richard did not wear blue. So Richard wears green color. Then the sixth statement which says if Richard wore green, then the two girls wore red. This will be against. So ye bhi possible nahi hai that we can have blue, green, green, green. Okay. So taking Gracie as green and Graham as red and green, neither of these two work out. Let's look into the next scenario where Gracie does wear green while Graham wears blue, the next color possible. Let's restart. If Graham wears blue, so fourth is done. Now, if Neha wore a red dress, then all other friends wore blue. That means Neha will not wear a red dress. Neha will wear either a green dress or Neha will wear a blue dress. ठीक है, ये दो possibilities हैं. Okay. Now, if Neha wears a green dress, then exactly two other friends wear blue. So Richard be blue हो जाएगा. So we can have this green, green, blue, blue. Let's see. Neha wears a green, exactly two other friends wear blue. Richard wears blue, then Graham didn't wear green. He doesn't. Richard doesn't wear green. Gracie wore a blue dress. Gracie is not going to wear a blue dress. If Neha wore blue, she is not. So this is an acceptable sequence. Let's look at the next sequence where we can have blue, green, blue. So Gracie is not going to wear a blue dress, so ये भी तो eliminate ही कर दो. Next, Neha wears, ये दोनों हट गया. Neha wears blue, then none of the friends wore red. So that means Richard cannot wear red. It's going to be green or blue, right? It can be green or blue. If Richard wore blue, then Graham didn't wear green. If Richard wore green, then the two girls wore red. Nobody is going to wear red here, obviously. Then the statement if Richard wore green tells us that Richard can't wear green. Richard has to wear blue only. Now, Richard and Gracie, there is no red color. So first is Done. Richard wear blue, then Graham didn't wear green. So blue, green, blue, blue is also acceptable. Now question is, what is the color of the dress that Neha wore? So Neha can wear a blue or a green color, right? So she cannot wear a red one. So answer is going to be option C.